The influences on Giambattista Valli's new collection were very raw, the artist Alighiero Boetti, the filmmaker Pier Paolo Pasolini, but the atmosphere of the collection itself was very rarefied. That made for a fascinating contrast.
It's not about the art, it's more about the intellectual side. Everything is through the eyes of Pasolini. There was such a human side on him. I love it because he always worked in contrast. He always finds balance between opposites. So there is like suburbs and sophistication together. There is something like spontaneous and intellectual the same way. So I always love that.
It's an attitude that Giambattista has about women. He likes women very feminine, very like flowers.
It's more like kind of a tender violet coming out, all this kind of rough toile and a little bit like kind of dirty look with all these like little flowers.
It takes me to the Amalfi Coast, to the hot dinners under the sky, and the flowers reminds me of the bougainvilleas that you can see in some of those houses in the gardens, and it's very chic for the boat, for the yacht. It's very beautiful, very sensitive.
I feel like out of all the collections in Paris, his always makes me dream the most. I feel like the clothes are so beautiful. It reminds me of all the clothes I dreamed of when I was a little girl, I think.
This show is like a pure fashion dream. There's not any concession to working women or anything in that collection.
Nothing. You don't think like the 9-to-5er could wear a nice short with a peplum attached? Nothing, no?
Do you know what? We just work a lot. When we dream to dress up, we don't think about work.
I like the ideas of this eccentricity, but not shouted. I mean, an eccentricity, but more like in a soul, in a gesture, in the style, but not shouted. It's much more like a state of mind more than a volume.